guys are doing in the space.
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for having us on ausbiz. So Tiiik is we're building a Web3 digital wallet. So what that means is we're looking primarily to build on new infrastructure and make it really simple to access through a mobile app. So we can accept Australian dollars and then we provide a yield. And the way we do that is we move it from Australian dollars into something that's called stable coins. And that's a very new innovation in the past few years with huge adoption and growth in the technology of stable coins. So we're following that thesis. That's why we have such large investors, built a strong team over the last 10 months of about 20 people. We've launched the product as of last week and onboarded about 10 initial clients with a list of about 300 to incrementally onboard. And that's for the primary to prove that we can go from AUD into a yield-generating protocol without our clients interfacing with any complexity and dealing in and not dealing in digital assets at all. So they just deposit and withdraw AUD, and that simplicity, we can achieve that through facing into regulation. So we can take AUD very simply from Australian bank accounts into our Australian bank account through Australian payment rails, and then we on-ramp it into digital assets. And we're pretty excited.
So it's a case of people are now able to sort of gain yield from the Australian dollars, but, you do the conversion so they can gain yield from sort of the stable coin. And is that intended, I guess, in a way it's a little bit of an easier method of investing than, picking your own coins to invest in? Is that sort of the market that you're trying to attract, people that want the investment opportunity but potentially not the risk or complexities that are involved in a lot of these crypto coins?
Yeah, so that's correct. So to give you some numbers, so to begin, we're onboarding accredited investors, so sophisticated under kind of, in Australian law. So it's very simple that we've built this contract where they part with AUD and get a yield that's kind of like, and they can deposit and withdraw at any time. That's similar to their savings account. So it's a really simple solution. And to give you hard numbers, there are 480,000, roughly, sophisticated investors in Australia that collectively manage around 2 trillion in assets. Between 1% to 5% of them have kind of engaged with digital assets to some degree or pursued education. And then an additional 1 to 3 have allocated, a reasonable, have dipped their toes in or, are quite proficient. So it's quite a small amount. So our thesis initially was, can we regulate this and make it simple for the clients for something that's very complicated? And normally what people know about digital assets is volatility. Bitcoin goes up and down, but that's actually driven now through markets that leverage kind of heats and cools and drives this volatility. So we generate yield from lending into these markets and don't move client funds into highly volatile assets. So we take it from AUD into a USD denominated stablecoin, and then we lend that out. In times of volatility, we can still pull those stablecoins back out of the protocols to provide liquidity to meet the client, and they can deposit and withdraw as they wish. So it's a technology business, not just financial services. So what we do, you have to have kind of the team that we have. Some of the guys are from Zip, Pocketbook, built some of the most highly adopted fintech apps in Asia Pac and the world. So we're very excited to be, we've got some really cool wireframes going on. and getting really good feedback from initial testing. So
you do have a very impressive list of key investors. We are unfortunately out of time, but we will have to get you back on when it launches to run us through the people that are signing up to us, the opportunity as well, because it is a growing space. So certainly will be one to watch. But thank you so much for joining us on Startup Daily today.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Well, that is